Welcome to Chelsea SW6. My name is Alex, and today I wanted to share my thoughts on a couple of scenarios that have occurred over the past few days at Chelsea Football Club, and I thought maybe I could give my own thoughts about it. The first thing is the reports of Conte is not going to be sacked. He is going to stay for now as our current Chelsea manager. The second one is the fact that there were reports of abuse by Chelsea fans on Bakayoko. And the third one is the fact that Antonio Conte has given his Chelsea players 3 days to rest. All right, let's get straight to it. Now, from reports by the BBC and Sky Sports, Antonio Conte will not be sacked. The club have issued a statement saying that the reason why he will not be sacked is because they are still in contention for the FA Cup and the Champions League, and they do not believe that at this time it is right for Antonio Conte to be sacked, which I completely back. I'm fully in Antonio Conte in, and to all of the Conte out fans, I just honestly I don't know why you would be out. I understand that there is frustration. I understand that when you lose 3-0 to Bournemouth, 4-1 to Watford, 1-0 to West Ham, 2-1 to Crystal Palace, 3-2 to Burnley in the first game of the season, 1-0 to Man City. Of course, it's not in order, but I can understand that when you lose 6 games at this stage, it's not really great. I can understand that. But I don't think that in that concept, you have to basically say that Antonio Conte has to leave, has to be sacked. Here are a couple of reasons as to why I believe he should stay. Firstly, his win ratio in the Premier League is 70.3%, which is the highest of all time for any manager, and that's also at the same level as what Pep Guardiola has. So 70.3% win percentage ratio. That's pretty impressive. And when you think about it, why would you want to sack him under that perspective? The stats are there. It's clearly showing that he can do it. So I won't blame Conte for what's going on at the moment. Secondly, in his first season at Chelsea, you need to remember that the season before we were 10th. And the club was in turmoil. Conte came in. At the time, he was told he had to bring in Marcus Alonso. Who else did he bring in? Yeah, he also brought in David Luiz on transfer deadline day. And Marcus Alonso at the time, we didn't really know much about him, but he was like a very average player. And there were also some other average players like Victor Moses. N'Golo Kante, which he bought, was actually a very good player, but just by himself, he can boss that midfield. Doesn't mean he can do it by himself. What I'm trying to say is he managed to bring a team that was in so much turmoil and managed to make sure that we won the Premier League in our first season in 30 wins out of 38. Now, tell me that is not impressive. 30 wins out of 38 in your first season. It's practically unheard of. I would believe in Chelsea's history. in the first season, of course. The third reason as to why I don't believe he should be sacked is because let's go back to like 1989, 1990. Of course, that was before I was born, but I've done some research over it. So, I don't know if a lot of you remember, but Sir Alex Ferguson, Man United manager, very successful. But there was a time in his period as a manager for Manchester United where there was a lot of turmoil and a lot of problems for him. It was 1989-90 season, and there were calls for Ferguson to be sacked because he was going through 7 games without a win, and the Man U fans were pretty restless. They were also going into the FA Cup third round against Nottingham Forest, and pretty much a lot of people expected him to lose that game. He didn't. He won 1-0. And with that win, it carried him to the FA Cup final, and he won 1-0 at an FA Cup final replay against Crystal Palace. After, basically the one previously was a 3-3 draw. So it goes to show that when a manager is really under pressure, there is a turning point. I don't know when that turning point is going to be, but there will be a turning point for him. And I think that turning point is going to be the game against Hull City or the game against Barcelona. Going back to the Ferguson scenario, what you also need to remember is that that FA Cup third round game saved Ferguson's career at Manchester United. After winning that specific game, he went on to win 37 trophies for Manchester United in 24 years. And I believe that under that perspective, if Antonio Conte can make a success out of the next 3 games against West Brom, Hull and Barcelona, if he can win those 3, highly optimistic, but if he does, then we could see possibly, I know I'm being too almost optimistic here, but we could see our own Sir Alex Ferguson, where he could win possibly the FA Cup or the Champions League. We don't know yet, but it's a possibility, and we should consider it. So yeah, I think you should give him time. And look, I think I've heard a lot of videos about the change in formation, and it's true that having a 3-4-3 doesn't seem to work right now, but maybe deploying it to 4-3-3 holding with a center defensive midfielder, that could possibly help. The problem is, the reason why he's not doing that is because Alonso is not a left back. He's a left wing back. So I think the moment Edison Palmieri is ready, I think he will deploy that 4-3-3 formation. But you'll need, as left back, I think you might need at that stage Edison Palmieri. You could also have Azpilicueta. That could also work. Right back Zappacosta, and then figure out it from there. Maybe you could also have David Luiz as CDM. That could possibly work for him. Last thing on Conte, then I'm going to move on to the 2 other things. What I've started to realize is that Cahill is not our leader. Our leader is Antonio Conte. And the reason why I say that is because you would see him last year screaming on the pitch, telling the players what to do all the time, telling them to focus, to even though if they scored, to go back, defend, wake up, it's not over. You do not rest until the 9 minutes are up. That was a proven leader. We succeeded because of Conte. We did not succeed just because of some players. We didn't succeed just because of Diego Costa. Sure, he did bag in a fair amount of goals for us, don't deny it. But if we basically didn't have a manager who was the type of leader, at that time, we would still be in turmoil. Let's accept it here. And so the fact of us losing some games here and there and seeing that Conte has become more and more quiet has led me to realize this. The players, Cahill, just because he has an Lombard, he's not the one in command of the pitch. Conte is. And if anything, we need to figure out a way to revive his ambition, make sure that he's committed to screaming and, and telling the players what to do back again. All right, so that's on the part about Conte, that's done. Now I'm going to go over to two other things. Firstly, Bakayoko. I don't see why you would insult a guy by saying he's... Okay, I'm not going to say... Well, basically, he's the S word. I'm just going to say that. When you say something like that, you lower not only his morale, but you lower the team's morale. Because it shows that, if someone does something bad, they can get criticized and insulted and lose their support from the fans. And that was the wrong display to have. As fans, we need to stick behind our players. Yes, we need to criticize them when they make a mistake, sure. But insulting them is not the answer. I'm sorry, it's not the answer. And I mean, frankly speaking, I don't know why, but I do also remember that when I went to Huddersfield, there were similar insults to Liverpool about Liverpool's history. Why the hell are you gonna mock the 96 dead during I don't remember what year it was. I'm sorry. But why are you gonna mock that? I'm sorry, you just don't do that. Lastly, there's been reports that Conte has decided to give his star players a 3-day break. Now, basically, this is a report coming from the Evening Standard, and the report is that Conte planned to make sure that the players rested until Wednesday morning. However, that performance against Watford in the last 10 minutes of the game made him rethink that and give the players an extra 2-day rest. So they would basically start training Friday morning, which means they would have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I do agree with the concept of resting those players because they've been playing for a while now and training only for 3 days. They haven't had much of a gap, and that gap needs to be really, really used to their advantage. I think that so long as the Chelsea players uses that break wisely and are fully fit once they come back, I don't see the problem in that. But Conte is trying to figure out issues to solve the tiredness. That's one of them. That 3-day break is one of them. If that doesn't work out, honestly, I don't know what will. Apart from Conte bringing back his old energy from last year. Yeah. Anyways, it's been Alex here. Hope you all have a good night, and hopefully this wasn't too long for you. But look, it's just my opinion. If you got a different opinion compared to this, if you don't really agree, comment below. But also explain why. I think this would be a good way for me to see the opposing view on this matter. All right.
Hi, it's Colin Pates here, ex-Chelsea 400 games. Don't forget to subscribe to Chelsea SW6.